Hello and welcome to the Discover History YouTube channel. Now I must apologise, it's been over a month since we put out our last video, but not to worry, both me and Paul are working on new content and I have been working on editing and presentation for our upcoming videos. So please give us a like and subscribe and press on that bell notification button to be notified when new videos are uploaded. Over the last decade or so, I've been lucky enough to make a number of trips to Normandy. The last being in 2016 when, as part of a Discover History research trip, we followed the route and actions of the first Worcesters during the middle part of the Normandy Campaign. My own personal research has been centred more on Gold Beach and the events in that first week of the campaign and grew out of explorations surrounding the campsite I stayed at during 2008 to 2012 and has resulted in a bit of an unfinished manuscript. During those 4 years, I stayed at a campsite in the grounds of the Chateau Martigny, which is next to the hamlet of St Pierre, which is situated on the main Caen to Bayeux highway, D-Day objective basically. It's about 5.5 miles east of Bayeux and 8 miles south, directly south just about, from Gold Beach. Now the first thing I discovered staying at the campsite was the chateau itself, and the now peaceful fields to the west were part of one large fighter airfield constructed by the RAF in 1944, and the last video in this series will be about that airfield. But that got me thinking, what else happened after D-Day in this area? There's nothing to see, of course it's just farmland today, but it got me thinking. So I did my research. So this series of videos are going to detail that research from what happened on Gold Beach and then the push inland. So sit down and strap in while over the next few weeks I detail what happened in a narrow corridor of Normandy countryside as the Allies made their first attempts to break out of their beachhead. But first, probably a little bit of background information. Enjoy. The 6th of June 1944 is one of the most famous dates in history and probably needs nothing more than a brief introduction before I narrow down the focus to the results of my research. The 5 Allied landing beaches were located along the Calvados coast and east coast of the Cotentin Peninsula between Caen and Cherbourg. The 2 westernmost beaches were assaulted by the United States First Army and the other 3 by the British Second Army. The invasion began just after midnight, with airborne troops being dropped to secure the flanks of the invasion. With the invasion force in view on the horizon and after an intensive bombing and shelling programme, the beach landings began at 6:30 a.m. when the 4th US Infantry Division assaulted Utah Beach on the Cotentin. Landing south of the intended beach against minimum opposition, the infantry was soon able to move inland to attempt to link up with the paratroopers scattered widely across the country around St Pierre. A few minutes later, the first waves of the US 1st Infantry Division, the Big Red 1, splashed ashore at Omaha Beach amidst heavy machine gun and mortar fire. The high bluffs and limited exits trapped the infantry on the beach and almost led to the abandonment of the assault before small groups managed to filter up the bluffs and began eliminating the defence. US Rangers also scaled vertical cliffs to take the battery at Point de Hoc, a virtual moonscape of bomb craters from which the guns had already been removed. An hour later, British troops landed on Gold and Sword beaches. We'll be returning to Gold Beach in the next video, as it is where my research begins. The 3rd British Infantry Division from Sword failed to secure Caen, but linked up with the paratroopers at the strategic Pegasus Bridge, thus keeping the left flank secure. At 7:45 a.m, the 3rd Canadian Infantry Division stormed ashore at Juno Beach. Landing later on the higher tide meant that they beat amongst the beach obstacles rather than below them, with the resultant loss of many landing craft and subsequent delays in bringing further craft in. Despite not achieving all their objectives, by the end of the day some 156,000 men were securely ashore for the cost of around 6,000 US and 4,200 British and Canadian casualties. Well, I hope you enjoyed that brief overview of the D-Day landings. The next video will detail 50 Division's assault on Gold Beach. So I'll see you then. Goodbye.